Well, welcome to Ask the Sales Professor. I am your sales coach, Ben Hippley, and this is your opportunity to learn from sales professionals' successes and maybe some of the things that they mess up every once in a while. And this is kind of our leadership edition as we're talking about hiring sales talent and why it's so difficult to do that. And have a couple of guests with us today. Ken, I don't know if I can call you a guest. You're almost kind of a permanent fixture on
I,
this
I
show.
hope to be soon.
So thank you for being on the show again. That is great. Always love having you. And then also a very special guest, Kyle. I know you because you are the sales club president at University of North Florida and have been doing just a bang out job of recruiting students to be part of this, recruiting companies to be part of the sales club. And you've got a very, very unique and important talent as you focus on finance and things that are going on in the markets. So we're pulling you as somebody from Generation Z to ask you this question. Is that okay?
Absolutely. I'm excited to be here.
We're excited to have you. So thank you for joining us. So we're talking about hiring sales talent. What are we going to cover?
So to start out, we have a very difficult workforce right now for very difficult time for companies to find people to work. And of course, sales jobs fit right in there. We've seen wages increase in, typical salaries where, a sales job may be a little more stressful and maybe a little more difficult than some other, jobs. And so, we've seen a lot of difficulties from companies trying to hire sales talent.
And we're going to get to the bottom of it, Kyle, right? Like, why is this happening? What caused this? But there's something we got to do first, Ken. Do you know what it is?
We have our intro.
We got to do our intro because that's what makes this like an official show.
Right. There you go. Roll it, Ben. Roll it.
Kyle, with your permission, I'm going to hit that intro button, and then we're going to dig deep into what's going on in the job market. Sound good?
Absolutely.
All right, let's do it. I love that part because I can like comb my hair, make sure I look good as
we need to stretch that out, make that intro just a few seconds longer.
A little bit longer to make sure my hair does look good. So Kyle, you shared some insight in the sales club recently about the job markets and kind of the perfect storm that's happened. And we don't have time to go into that full presentation, but give us some highlights. Like, why are we in the situation that we're in?
Yeah, absolutely. So, this is a huge question for a lot of people, not just in the typical workforce, but people in finance and people in economics who are supposed to really understand this at a high level.
Yeah.
And one of the main things we're looking at is a huge amount of retirees this year and this past year during the pandemic. The baby boomer generation is the largest generation we have, and a lot of them are retiring.
So let's hang on to that. That's interesting. Yeah. You've got a lot of them retiring at one time, which we knew was going to happen, right? Like that wasn't a surprise.
Correct.
Right.
It was going to happen.
They weren't going to work forever, though they could have fooled us, but we knew they were going to retire. And did COVID play any impact in that? Do you think we saw people retire quicker or sooner?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of folks were concerned about health issues. That was, I think, first and foremost for a lot of people. And another situation was that people were almost ready to retire. They were coming up to retirement age, and this event may have pushed them over the edge to, kind of pull the trigger. Something else to note is that markets have performed extremely well over the past 2 years. The stock market has roared, the real estate market has roared. And so maybe people who weren't quite yet ready may be ready, now. And so that's really contributed to people retiring.
Yeah, I think that's a big point too. And we do have a comment from the intro though, right? Like everyone loves that intro. Thanks, Chad, for jumping on that. So great points there, Kyle. People are making more money in the markets, real estate, and they're thinking, why do I want to be exposed to COVID? All this craziness going on. I've got enough money. And maybe it pushed them to retire a little bit early.
Yeah.
I think that makes sense.
A fair thesis.
What else? What else are you seeing? What are the financial markets looking at as to this? What's going on in the job market?
Well, that's another concern. People have talked about stimulus having an effect, unemployment benefits. I have a little argument against it. I don't think that the $1,200 that was sent out twice, 2 or 3 times, is still being used for people to live on. And then another thing to consider is that immigration has, dropped substantially in the past few years, which, that's been a huge part of building our labor force over, past decades. And so losing that has definitely created some openings.
I think that's an important point, Kyle. So immigration went down to virtually zero, right, during the peak of COVID. It's back up now, but we're probably not making up for lost time quick enough, it'd be my guess on that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so that leaves a lot of competition when companies are trying to hire talent. Doesn't matter if it's sales talent or any talent, the people are looking to pull new talent to their company, and it's tough to find them. Right, really tough to find them. So Ken, what's your thought on that? So
well, as you guys were, as you were saying that, one of the challenges I think about is that people learn to work remotely, and in the sales world, having the freedom to work your schedule and work remotely, it probably was challenging for a lot of people. It was a hard adjustment to make, but there were a lot of people, I believe, that found that they worked very well in that situation. They didn't have somebody over their shoulder. They didn't have the distractions in the office. They also had the benefits of getting a few things done around the house that normally they'd have been, straightening up their desk or something else. And the freedom that came with that and the ability to work that way has made some people think, wait a minute, if I'm going to go back to the office, I'm going to be there every day. I enjoyed what I did. I enjoyed working this way, and I was successful at it. Now, there's going to be people that weren't, and there's going to be companies that, for whatever reason, need people to come to an office to do certain things. But this has changed drastically, so much faster because of the pandemic than it would have. I mean, I think we were progressing towards this, but it was just amped up. I think we're 5 or 10 years ahead of where we would have been when it came to remote working environments. And that makes a big difference. Many companies are not structured in a way that they're able to offer that to employees. They don't know how to manage them. They don't know how to operate in that environment. So that's causing a lot of flux in the sales world, I believe.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. So it's like now that option's there. We've had it. We've had a taste of it. I don't know if I want to go back or not. And I'll probably add one more thing to that too, which is it used to be if you wanted to go work for a specific company, you had to wave goodbye to all your friends and family in your hometown and go somewhere else, right? But we don't all have to do that anymore.
Right.
We can work remote and go work for a company that's based out of New York or wherever and do that from our hometown. And so more options there for talent to go find a specific culture or a specific type of company, whether it's in sales or not, that they want to go work for.
Right. Well, we talked about, I think before we got on, we were talking about our generations. I'm a baby boomer generation, and Ben, I don't remember, but we look at, Kyle is Gen Z, and there's always these discussions about this new generation just doesn't get it, and you know what? I think I said it's something that's always been said. It's been said for a long time.
So Ken. Ken, I'm gonna call you out. I think you're onto something here. So let's check out. I've got a visual for you.
Okay.
Of a quote, and you might be able to see the name on this. Not quite sure. If you can't see the name, I want to see if you can guess who it was that might have said this. Okay. So check this out. The children now love luxury. They have bad manners, contempt for authority. Sound familiar, Kyle? They show disrespect for elders. Man, that's so true. As I'm getting older, I've noticed that. They love chatter in place of exercise. They're tyrants now, right? Not the servants of their household. That sounds like something we might say about millennials or Gen Zs, doesn't it?
Yeah. Sounds like something Richard Nixon would have said about me.
Specifically about you, Ken. And this goes out to you, Ken. Right? So, yeah, I think you're right. But here, if you look, I don't know if you can see through this, that's actually a quote from Socrates.
Wow.
That's Socrates 2,500 years ago.
Right.
Saying, what is wrong with this generation of children?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it is something that we have had a major shift that's occurred over the last 18 months because of the pandemic. that would not have occurred nearly as quickly. It just amped it up. But I think it is a challenge for companies to position themselves in such a way. And there are people now, more people shifting and looking and exploring than ever before. And they have to make their environment and their culture the kind of environment that someone like Cal wants to work for. So, I mean, talk about that, Cal. What is it that you're looking for that you don't think every company's given?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. And I think one of the big things from not just myself, but my generation has really turned to is customer first, especially in a sales role. More old school sales styles were a little different and maybe a little more, pushed towards the bottom line than I think they are now. And now, my generation obviously has been given some leverage with this, open workforce, open opportunities everywhere. Now they really are kind of given the opportunity to make a decision about where I want to work and use their leverage. But I think a world-class organization that treats their workers right and also demonstrates that they put the customer first is a long-term winner for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle, let's sit in that for a second here. So I had a client, Gen Z. We get on a coaching call and he says, worst day ever, right? Most stressful day ever. And I'm thinking he missed a really big sale that he'd been working on that we had talked about was in his pipeline. Something's going wrong with sales in general. And he's telling me, no, actually, he's an SDR in this role. He says, hey, was doing really good, booking my appointments, hitting some pretty solid numbers. But my manager asked me to lie to a customer that I was trying to help sort through some things. Wow. And that tore him apart. It tore him apart. That was the thing that killed him for that week because he just couldn't live in that world where his superior, his manager, his leader is asking him to just tell a white little fib, just to kind of make things go smooth for that customer right now versus in the long run. And it tore him apart. So I think you're onto something there. That's something that Gen Z just doesn't feel comfortable with. They can't live with that.
Yeah, and I don't think it's just my generation. I think most people in the workforce now at this point have really adapted that and want to be ethical. You're always going to have some on the other side, but I think most people want to be ethical and have realized that it works. That being nice and actually providing value can really work. So I think that definitely contributes.
Yeah, I think that's an important part. So I think we've really dug into kind of why is this happening? What's going on? There's some real big global concepts here that we've touched on. And of course, we can dig deeper in if we had more time. What do we do about it as hiring managers? What do leaders do about this? And it sounds like first off is create an ethical environment, right? And so maybe environment is something that's really important to us. If we're trying to recruit talent, and we're competing, we're not Google, we're not Amazon, right? We're trying to recruit some talent. We've got to compete against that. What else is there, Kyle? Ken, what are you seeing out there? We got to be ethical. What else is this generation looking for from their companies that they choose to work for?
Well, I would, real quick, I'll give it to you after. I'll just note what Ken had mentioned earlier, about kind of adapting the technological hybrid model. Is very important now. And especially, like I said, people that are, looking for jobs are using the leverage of having other options. And with that, they, a lot of them want to work from home. They found that working from home is great, or work, in a hybrid model, go into the office 2, maybe 3 days a week.
Yeah.
So companies that can provide that for their, for their workers, I think are going to have a much higher, chance of retaining talent than those who aren't.
Yeah. So flexibility, I think, is going to play a key role. Ken.
Yeah, and I don't think just offering it is going to be good enough. They've got to embrace it. They can't just say we're going to do this hybrid thing, and then we're going to say, well, yeah, but your performance isn't up, so you need to be here 4 days a week. Well, you're in the bottom third of the sales team now. You're going to have to come to the office every day. That makes that environment like, okay, you're going to be punished as part of the team, and we're going to use that as a wedge to try to divide the team. They have got to embrace it totally and understand how to manage in it, how to lead in it, and how to make it something that people want to be a part of. And they can't just do it begrudgingly. If they can't do it, full bore, then just stay away from it. Just say, look, we don't have an environment where we want to do that. We want people to come to an office. We like the office atmosphere. We like how we can encourage each other, people around each other. Those are the people that we're looking for. There may be a great group of people that they can put on that team, but they shouldn't try to fake it.
Yeah, definitely being genuine to how you're going to lead your team. And that reminds me of kind of going back to basics, right? So let's think of pre-COVID, pre-lockdown. What was it that the best companies did when they were hiring talent? And what motivated that talent? And you think of things like clarity in the job, being able to directly impact your own success, right? Those are two things we can't get away with being okay at those anymore.
Right.
We've got to be great at that as hiring companies. Right. We've got to make sure that people feel like they can have an impact, a direct impact on their own success.
Onboarding and training. Onboarding and training of new employees, which was a challenge before to get companies to do, is even more challenging when you're talking about a remote environment. They have to get better at that.
You know what? I can't tell you how many stories I've heard of talent coming in, getting hired, and leaving that job in 2 weeks. I've heard more of those in the last 6 months than I did in the total 5 years ago. Because they're coming in, they're expecting something, they're not getting it, they feel like they have options, and they go somewhere else. That ramp up, that initial experience, how am I going to perform my job? How am I going to be successful? If that's not clear, people are jumping ship.
I have a coaching meeting with someone weekly, and they left after 3 days because the job was so badly misrepresented before they came on board. 3 days. Unbelievable. That, you know, you really have to walk the talk.
Yeah, absolutely. That's not an isolated case. Kyle, we're past time, guys. What are we doing? We're having way too much fun. Kyle, anything that we didn't capture or any other thoughts that you had that we got to make sure we dig in here?
Those were the main topics we wanted to cover. So that was really well.
Kyle, I can't thank you enough for being on the show. You are reviving our faith in Generation Z.
Yes,
so well accomplished at such a young age. I know there's more of you out there, and that is what companies are hoping for. It's what we're looking for. And I got to tell you, I know just because of your work at the Sales Club, you get job offers fairly often, right? So companies are looking to hire that young talent because it's unique when somebody has the background that you do. So thank you for being on the show. And Kyle, I always ask this question: do you think that you'd be open to being on the show again one day?
Absolutely. And thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Kyle, Ken, did we miss anything before we jump off?
No, great to have you, Kyle.
Yep, absolutely. So I get to go back and do our little video, right? Because we love that branding. Anytime we can brand, and then we'll jump off. So you guys did great. Thanks so much. And looking forward to talking to you all next time. See you.
All right. See y'all.